welcome to Foosball After Dark, a momentous day for the Green Bay Packers.
What, did something happen?
Something weird happened, yes.
What happened?
The Packers at family night had somebody finish a whole keg in one keg stand, and it was a big story. No, MICAH Parsons, guys. Let's talk about MICAH Parsons, Packers Mania. We are so hyped right now. Speaking of hype, Doug hype, MICAH Parsons to the Packers. How you feeling?
I feel like this is like Packers just have a history of doing this. Every 15 or 20 years, they summon an elite defensive player to the team, and then it's like the Power Rangers coming together, and then we are a full Green Bay Packer team now.
Dude, we were talking about that when I basically said there's no way we're trading for MICAH Parsons, but the only reason I feel like we could do it is that that change in mentality when you get that huge defensive presence, like when we got Reggie White, like when we got Charles Woodson, right? And the Woodson thing, maybe people didn't see it as much. Like the Reggie White thing was huge. There's stories about it when Holmgren calls and says, "This is God, sign with the Packers." Like it's become legend, right? At least among Packer fans.
And also, no one thought that was going to happen. There's no way he's going to go to another team. There's no way he's going to the Packers. No one thought that was happening.
Dude, I said it time and time again. MICAH's screwed. Jerry can just franchise tag him 2 years in a row. Why would he trade him? And then he trades him. And now Jerry's trying to act like he won the deal. Like, Jerry, you're out of your mind. Like, no, thank you for taking Kenny Clark in his massive contract. But, we'll get into that. So let's first talk about the impact on the Packers defense. That's what I really want to get into, is the impact on the Packers defense. So, Hype, you go first. How do you think this changes the Packers defense from top to bottom?
Well, it's completely different now. They have not had a legit pass rusher since Clay Matthews, maybe?
Yeah.
Was the last time they, like a guy that somebody you have to game plan for. And as a quarterback, you have to have in the back of your mind, like, I have to be aware of this guy. I have to be worried about him. Like, I have to have some 30% of my brain has to be worried about this thing as opposed to just concentrating on what my job is.
You have to game
we
plan
haven't had
for a
that
player. No, we
in
haven't.
a long time. Quarterbacks just sit back there willy-nilly being like, I'm going to check the stock market. I'm going to do this. Oh, no, pass the ball. Like, that's how they feel in the pocket against us, even though we might have like some nice little stats that say our pass rush win rate is pretty good. But by the time the guy actually gets to the quarterback, he's had all day to just find a guy open. No, it does not feel discomfort or distraction from what he needs to do. He's just in the zone. And we haven't had somebody to go in there. When Clay Matthews was running down dudes, they literally had to be looking for the guy all the time and worried about him. That helped us win a Super Bowl because of that. And recently, quarterbacks just don't have to worry. They're just going to sit back there, take their 3-5 step drop and find the guy that's open. Not even hard to do. So unless you had Jair on the guy, then, they'd be covered really well, but he's gone now. So this is absolutely amazing because people don't realize MICAH Parsons was on bad defenses. Now he's on a defense that might actually be pretty good.
I mean,
and
yeah,
instead of him making everyone else on the defense better because he's so good, now he's on a defense where you got Rashawn Gary and you got linebackers that are flying around like crazy, doing crazy blitzes. This could be really difficult for opposing offenses.
Dude, this defense is going to make a lot of plays. I'm still in shock. It's been a couple hours. I still can't believe it actually happened. But let's just go over this. So the Packers, let's start from the top. Xavier McKinney and Evan Williams are probably a top 3 safety duo in the NFL, right?
Yeah, as long as Evan Williams stays healthy, we got a top 3.
If Javon Bullard fills in for him, I'd still say we're close to top 10 because McKinney's that good and Bullard has some talent that he can play safety, right? Cornerbacks, we're definitely not good. Cornerbacks, we might be bottom 5 there, right? So this is huge because it helps that position really well when you have a pass rusher, especially a speed rusher. So let's think about this. MICAH Parsons is a speed rusher. He gets around the end quick. He can make quick, impactful sacks.
And he can do it through the middle of the line too, not just around the side.
Rashawn Gary and Van Ness are both power rushers, straight up power rushers. They don't have quick moves. They don't get in quickly. They take their time to get to the quarterback. They use strength, not speed. MICAH uses both. Specifically, speed is something that we haven't had, right?
He is like a heat-seeking missile. He finds the quarterback no matter who the hell you put in front of him.
Yeah, and then think about how this helps Edgerrin Cooper, right, and Quay Walker on the outside, who also are going to be blitzing this year, guys. Like, we're going to be blitzing linebackers as
But
well.
now you don't have to blitz them as much, and you don't know what they're going to do. Like,
or if they're automatically double teaming Micah, that leaves gaps open because people were not double teaming Rashawn Gary. Like, I love Rashawn Gary, don't get me wrong, but he did not face any double teams last year. And 2 of his sacks, they just forgot to block him. No joke. Look at the tape. Okay. So you're not going to forget to block Micah Parsons, and you're going to double team him from time to time, which leaves lanes open for linebacker blitzes, which makes the blitzes more effective. So whether you do them more or not, when you do them, they are going to be more effective. I think this makes our linebacker position better, and it absolutely makes the D line
better. And that's
better.
what the linebackers we have our best at. Actually, Quay Walker's best thing is pass rushing. Like,
I think so too, and
pretty
playing downhill, right? Now, this is going to affect our run defense, no doubt. Our run defense isn't going to be as good as last year. We were like top 4 in the NFL. I think we were 5th overall in run defense last year. We were top 10 in points. I expect that to continue, but I expect us to get more turnovers. I expect us to create more chaos. And the only thing that I'm curious about now is, where does Luke Van Ness play? Does Rashawn Gary switch to the other side? Does Luke Van Ness move inside? Are we going to play Brooks in the middle now? I mean, where does this all work out? Like, where does Rashawn Gary?
Well, the thing is, we might be playing more 3-4 type stuff than 4-3 at times, possibly.
I don't know, because we kind of went away from that. That's not Jeff Hafley's defense. He doesn't do a 3-4. He'll probably do like a hybrid.
Hafley might be switching up all the time. You might have no idea what our defense is going to do.
That's what I was going to say. The advantage is we can play a hybrid now because Micah can cover. We were talking about this earlier. Yeah. Micah's coverage grade is actually not as bad as you would think for a guy who's like a pure pass rusher.
Kind of really good, actually. Yeah. It's kind of like really good.
Against the run, he's, in the lower half, but against the pass, he's actually pretty dang good. So if he drops out and we do all kinds of stuff, we blitz guys from the other side, we move Van Ness around. I think on passing downs, like say it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, I would love to see Luke Van Ness line up over the guard because he did that in college and he was fairly successful as well. So like Luke Van Ness, Rashawn Gary.
If you got Rashawn Gary, Luke Van Ness, and Parsons out there, all 3 of them can drop back into coverage. They're fast enough if you have to. Like, they can do anything. If you want to do some
crazy stuff and blitz Quay on the outside, blitz 2 guys on the left, drop 2 guys out. Yeah, I mean, Jeff Hafley's going to have a field day. He's a very, very smart defensive
There's a lot of elite physicality and athleticism on this defense. That doesn't mean all of them are good at skill-wise, pass rushing or whatever, but they can move.
No, this makes our defense scary, which, to be honest, on paper, how much better did we get on paper? I don't know if it's a huge amount because we still have issues other places. I think that Micah's going to help with, don't get me wrong. And we still need other guys to take a leap. We still need to see Van Ness take a leap to the next stage. We still need Wyatt to take a leap. We still need Quay to take a step in the right direction. And we still need Edge Cooper to take a step in the right direction. So, like, there's a lot of stuff that could change dramatically to where we're like an elite defense or we kind of are where we were last year. But I tell you what, I said it the other day, the second most important position in football is edge rusher, and it shows in the draft. It's quarterback, edge rusher, and tackle, right? And we now have an elite edge rusher, and it changes how teams have to go against us tactically. It changes what the offense can do. And that's what you want from a defensive perspective is the offense having to change what they want to do based on what you can do. And yeah, I'm super excited about it.
I have a vision of this defense, and I think there's going to be stunts and things that the defensive line coach has him doing because Parsons can do magical things. He can line up here and just squirt around here and just get through. So you are not going to just have to like stand up and just block guys. You're going to have to wonder, where is Van Ness and Parsons and Gary coming from and where they're going? Because not only are these guys like powerful dudes, they're fast for their size. And so there's lots of crazy stuff they can possibly do with this defense to just completely confuse offensive line. If I was playing quarterback against this defensive line, I would not be happy about that whatsoever. Like, these guys can get you.
The Packers defensive line just became one of the scariest in the NFL, as far as I'm concerned, because people forget Devondre Wyatt gets really good pressure up the middle as far as like defensive pass rush goes, which is what Kenny Clark could not do. Yeah, Kenny Clark could not create pass rush pressure. That wasn't his. He was a nose tackle.
Well, the thing is, we have some guys that are reserves that are good at run defense, like Stackhouse and these guys that we picked up. They're like pretty dang good. And so Brooks. You don't need them to pass rush.
Right. So I think our defensive line is going to do a lot more like switching guys in and out like during the game, keeping guys fresh. I can even see Gary and Van Ness like switching out. Maybe they bring out Micah for a couple plays
and
just
don't
everybody
forget
fresh.
about Cox and Sorrell and all these like new
and
the new guys coming in.
Sorrell looks really good. I want to see him get playing time too. So like, where does he fit in? Like, I hope that they do a lot of substitutions and keep these guys fresh throughout the game and throughout the season. Because I really like our defensive
feel like
line.
There's another thing though, Derek. I think Micah Parsons can help these other guys get better. I think maybe not like teaching them anything, but inspiring them, following his lead.
Sure.
Just like the mojo and juice that he has to get to the quarterback, like he might pump him up to the next level.
And not only that, but just having someone of that caliber around where they focus on him. Dude, there's absolute causality of how good Evan Williams was last year because of how good Xavier McKinney is, right?
Yes.
Like Evan Williams goes into a team like the Browns or a team that doesn't have a good defensive back system, and he's asked to do all these other things. He's not going to be as successful. But when Xavier McKinney is so good, and you know certain things are covered, and he can tell you what he's doing and where he's going to be as a team when you're playing safety, that makes Evan Williams that much better, right? Micah Parsons on the other side of the line, drawing attention, like making sure that he's keyed on from the offense, makes the other guys better just by being there.
It's a really good parallel because Xavier McKinney is very smart, and I've heard many people say that Micah Parsons is like a defensive genius. Like he's just extremely cerebral, intelligent.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch Micah Parsons' podcast, like he's very intelligent, and like I'm curious to see what his podcasts are now that he's on the Packers and what he has to say about Jerry. But all right, let's move on to the next one because we've basically been talking about it. Does this make us a legit Super Bowl contender? Now, I know, Doug, you already predicted the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. I wasn't quite there yet.
I saw this whole vision happening.
You saw it happening. You saw Golden get drafted. I mean, you've been kind of calling it out. I'll give you credit. You saw Golden go to the Packers.
I did call a receiver in the first round as soon as I saw the draft unfold in the first couple of picks. I was like, Golden's dropping to us. Like he's coming to the Green Bay.
It's weird how things are just kind of working out this offseason. It's almost creeping me out. Like it's almost too good to be true, right? So, but because Packers off seasons aren't usually this good. You know what I mean? They're usually not very good. And so this has been a really good one. We're stealing thunder from the Bears. Speaking of which, guys, Chief Greengrass couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted to remind you all that when teams when teams trade 2 first-round picks for a defensive lineman, it doesn't always help them. Khalil Mack. But the Bears were already bad when they traded for Khalil Mack and expected them to make them better. The Packers were an 11-win team 2 years in a row. And last year, they lost their last 2 games after they had already sewn up the 7th seed. Right. So, like, the Packers are a 12-win team anyway. Like, let's just say they're an 11, 12-win team anyway, getting Micah Parsons. That's a lot different than what the Bears were when they traded away their first-round picks. So, dude, does this make us a Super Bowl contender? Man, I feel like it has to. I feel like it does. I feel like that's why we make this trade, is to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender, right? To beat the Eagles, to create turnovers, to create chaos, to create fear on defense so that our offense can strive and find ways to win ball games. Like, I think right now behind the Eagles, I got the Packers as the second best pick to make the Super Bowl out of that.
Wow. Okay. So you got Eagles, Packers, maybe then like Lions and stuff, right?
I'd say honestly, probably the Lions after that, but it's tough for me after that. It's a big, the Packers were in the big C behind the Eagles for me.
There's a C, there's like the Redskin, Washington Commanders, and all this
stuff.
There's
the Commanders, there's the Rams if Stafford is healthy. There's let's be honest, if McCarthy's good, maybe the Vikings, right? The Buccaneers are in that C. I think the Seahawks are slightly in there, though people aren't very high on them. And, you can throw the 49ers in there. I don't think so. But I think there's like 7 or 8 teams that could fight with the Eagles, but the Eagles were the clear-cut one. I think the Packers are the clear number 2 now. I think it's Eagles, Packers, and then everybody else right now.
There's something I researched while we're getting prepped for this show, and I was looking up people's responses, like how good is the Cowboys defense without Micah? And people are posting on Reddit, and some fans from the East, looking at the NFC East, right? And especially the Redskins were saying that, like, Jaden Daniels last year, the only time he had problems is when Micah Parsons was on the field. They said Micah Parsons wrecked our offense, and the only time that we had success and scored easily is when he wasn't playing. And they're like, basically, like, he just destroyed us. Like, we couldn't do anything against him. And when you look at that kind of stuff, you're like, wow, because you want opinions from people that are neutral and not like, maybe a Packer fan or something or whatever. And it's just like, okay, does that make the Packers a Super Bowl contender if that's the case, if he plays at that level, then they 100% are a Super Bowl contender. I
So,
mean, look at how many Pro Bowl level players or all pro level players they have, like running back, safety, now defensive end, and maybe now they have a legit, really nice number one receiver.
Right. So we were looking at this too, because I wanted to know more about Micah Parsons' actual stats. I looked up some PFF stuff. So this is crazy, guys. So he did miss 4 games, but he still finished 3rd in sacks at 14, and he finished 10th in hurries. But he was 21st in pass rush snaps and 30th in total snaps for his position. So he finished 30th in total snaps and still was number 10 in hurries, and he was 21st in pass rush snaps and finished 3rd in sacks. So, like, dude produces. He absolutely produces. That's crazy to me.
He doesn't just win the pass rush. He actually gets to the quarterback.
Yes, which is the problem that we've had. Yeah, we've had pretty good pass rush success.
He might be the best finisher of a sack guy there is, because when he pass rushes, he looks like a powerful guy. He gets in there, but he's only 250 pounds. He's fast.
Right.
He runs quick. Like a 4.39, bro. So that's the thing about the pass rushers in this draft. I was hoping that we would draft somebody that could pass rush well, but it was fast enough to track down a Jaden Daniels or a Jalen Hurts, you know, get after him, right? Or even a Caleb Williams, whatever. Micah Parsons is that dude. He's better than all those guys in the draft.
Yeah.
Like, he's better than them. Maybe Abdul Carter might end up possibly being better than Micah Parsons at some point because he's very good. But like, this is literally exactly what we need.
Well, when we first started talking about this trade, we all agreed Micah Parsons is the 3rd best defensive lineman or 3rd best pass rusher in the NFL. Myles Garrett and TJ Watt are better just because they play the run better, right? And, you know, but I think the 3rd best pass rusher in the league is pretty amazing to get. Like, who's the 3rd best quarterback in the league? Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's elite status to be in. And I'm really excited to see what Jeff Hafley does with this defense. And I already thought we were going to win a lot of games. Like, guys, if you look at the Packers schedule, it's tough. The whole NFC North has a tough schedule. But if you actually look at the Packers home games, who they play at home versus who they play away, we've got the Eagles at home. We got the Commanders at home, right? We play the Bengals at home, right? We play the Ravens at home. It seems like all the tough teams, the toughest games we have to play in Green Bay. Now, we obviously play at Denver. That's a tough game. At Chicago, at, you know, Minnesota, at Detroit, like always. But most of our road games are not the elite teams. All the elite teams we play, the Bengals, I'm including the Eagles, the Commanders, and the Ravens, are at home for the Packers, where the Bears are going on the road, right, to those teams, and the Lions are going on the road to a lot of those teams.
Oh, boy,
so
yeah.
It's like the schedule, definitely, as hard as it is for the Packers, is a lot more favorable, I think, than what the Bears and Lions have. So I think this adds another win, and I think we win the division. I picked the Lions to win the division with one more win than us. I think this puts us over the Lions, and I think we win the division.
I guess that's a good question. How many more wins does Micah Parsons give you? Does he give you 2 more wins on the season?
If you're an 11-win team and you get 1 more win at 12 or 2 more wins at 13, like, you're almost a 1 seed at that point, right? I don't know if we're going to be a 1 seed, but I think this wins us the division. I think this wins the Packers the division this year.
I think the definition of a Super Bowl team is a team that you just absolutely don't want to play in the playoffs. Like, you'd rather play a different team.
Right.
When you put Micah Parsons on a team that's already got a good running game and good run defense, like, what are you going to do? Oh, we'll get in a shootout. They got good run defense. We'll just throw the ball a lot. Yeah. Oh, what's going to happen? Micah Parsons is going to pierce you into the ground.
Yep. And, dude, honestly, like, we've still got holes on our team. But the Packers draft so well the 2nd, 4th, 5th round, not always the 3rd.
They draft the best in the 2nd and the 5th round. That's
dude,
just
like,
how it is.
We get better players almost than we do from our 1st-round picks.
And
right?
you have to pay them less, too, even though it's not that big of a deal.
So that's something to consider, too. We're not going to be paying 2 first-round picks over the next 2 years, which is going to help with some of Micah's salary. But we can fill some of these holes, like cornerback, like now defensive tackle. I think now we probably need to maybe get another guard next year. But those are all positions that you can get 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. So I'm not even stressing about
Think about this. Picks. Think if you have 2 first-round picks and how much you would pray to get a Micah Parsons type player in those
exactly, especially picks. If you're picking 24 to 32.
You would be praying your whole life waiting for that guy to show up because you would never get him. Your chance is 1 in 32 every year over this many seasons, and there's only a couple of them that exist.
And how many guys get drafted that people want to be Michael Parsons in the top 15 every year, and they don't pan out? Do you know what I'm saying? And you waste the top 10. Dude, we drafted Luke Van Ness at what, 13? And like, he's not even close to what Micah Parsons is. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's like an average NFL player at this point, maybe.
And I would trade Luke Van Ness and 2 first-round picks, and that's a 13th overall pick. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, I mean, I'm not worried about giving the Cowboys the 27th, 28th, 29th overall pick or 32nd, hopefully, right, overall pick. So, yeah, I think this makes us an absolute Super Bowl contender. This shows that we think we can hang with the big boys, and Goody's ready to play now, and I'm super excited about it. So, speaking of the other end of the trade, Jerry Jones. Oh, my gosh, Jerry Jones, you screwed this up so bad. Micah wanted to be a Cowboy for life. Micah's probably your most prominent player, maybe behind Dak, right?
He grew up loving the Cowboys, too.
He grew up loving the Cowboys, and you just ruined it. And you're trying to play it off like this is to your benefit. Jerry, you screwed this up so bad. And you can believe whatever you want, but, man, you screwed this up so bad. And I think the Packers fleeced you, man. Kenny Clark, we were going to cut him next year anyway. I'm being honest. We
just looked it up. His PFF rating listed last year was a 60.
A 60, guys. And, like, I love Kenny Clark, Packer Hall of Famer. He's 100% like a great Packer player. And this isn't me putting down Kenny. This is just me saying what Kenny's making right now. We would have cut him next year at his salary. I guarantee
You're paying him over $20 million for a guy who's literally just at most like an average player last year at defensive tackle.
And we're still going to get some cap hit from that 27 over the next 2 years in cap hit, right? But like, again, we were going to eat some cap next year and we get Micah Parsons. So is Jerry the worst sports owner? I wouldn't say history, but is he currently, let's say, the worst sports owner in the United States? I think he's got to be in the consideration.
I don't know anybody that would. But the thing is, you have to consider it's not just the decisions as how the team's winning and losing. It's also the attention he's bringing. He's bringing negative attention to the team so much.
So much drama, dude.
Like the only owner of a sports franchise I've ever thought that's in this category is Marge Schott, who said like all these things and treated the players badly, and she was just an a-hole all around.
He was awful.
And Jerry Jones, I think, just put himself like right there, if not past her.
But for different reasons, because Jerry's good to his players. Well, for the most part, other than not wanting to talk to their agents, right? Whether he wants to pay them or not.
Well, he's nice to him once he gets what he wants out of him. But if he doesn't get what he wants from you, he does not treat you well.
Dude, and everybody knows it. This is the problem. Jerry thinks he's bigger than the Cowboys himself. He thinks he's the Dallas Cowboys. He thinks he is the representation of the Dallas Cowboys and everything goes through him. Like, that is the opposite of how an owner should run a franchise. It's the exact opposite of how you should run a franchise. And it has been shown that he is massively unsuccessful. He has not won, he's won 3 playoff games since Jimmy Johnson left, 4 playoff games since Jimmy Johnson left. Like, dude, Jerry is terrible at running this franchise, and he is the last person to understand that. So, yeah, it makes him a bad owner. He is a very, very bad owner.
I mean, you have to consider he's breaking NFL rules constantly. He's like forcing these guys to negotiate without agents.
Dude, that's
like I'm saying he's forcing you to play by his rules, and then once you play by all of his rules, then you're my guy and I love you. But if you don't do everything he wants according to how his rules are,
right,
then it's like no go, and that's what makes him a terrible person.
This is the thing. He's like, we don't need an agent. I can just talk to you. We'll come to an agreement like good old boys. And it's like, Jerry, when you signed the contract with AT&T for the stadium, did you have your lawyers check it? I'm pretty sure you did, right? Right? Do you sign contracts with oil companies and natural gas companies and all this other business you do without having a lawyer check it out for legal reasons to cover your butt? That's what agents do for the players, and you don't want them involved. Like, if you made a deal with Micah and he's like, yeah, my agent will call you, and then you just talk to him and say, here's the deal we came up with. And if the agent says, I don't like it, then you say, get Micah on the phone. He agreed to this already. You work it out. Not wanting to talk to the agent is just, it's almost like senile. It's almost like he lost his ability to understand logic, or he did it to create drama because he's more about the drama than he is about winning. He's absolutely more about the drama than he is about winning.
Well, he wants to show his strong hand. He wants to show I'm strong, I'm in charge, because that's his bargaining power. When he goes to any deal anywhere, he's like, I'm Jerry Jones. I'm the guy that gets stuff done. I'm the guy that knows the best. That's his whole like persona, right? But the problem is that the only way you can get that way is by pushing everybody underneath your feet and kicking them in the face. And that's not what you do when you care about your players and your team.
Not when you care about winning. Like, I think Jerry does care about his players, like, to a point, right? Like you said, when he gets his way. But I think he tells himself he cares about winning, but he more cares about being the center of attention and the Cowboys being the center of attention, which therefore makes him the center of attention, right? That's what he wants more than anything else. And it's ruining his franchise. And I could not be happier about it. I hate the Cowboys.
Great. I hope he's the owner of the Cowboys
forever. I want him to be cryogenically frozen in a head in like the Wednesday show where like Christopher Lloyd's head is just in a freaking tube and he lives forever. Like that's what I want Jerry Jones to do, to be cryogenically frozen with just his head, like on Futurama, and then continue to run the Cowboys in like 2094 and continually and still haven't made a championship game by that time. Yeah, Jerry's an awful owner.
There's a long history of owners treating players terribly and badly. And on one hand, you could say like, oh, he's chummy with them. He seems to be a nice guy to him or whatever. But that's how all business owners are if they get their way and they get what they want. You know what I mean? Like you treat them well because you're like, I'm making money off you and you're doing everything I say. Yeah. You're dancing, I'm pulling your strings, whatever I want. So yeah, it doesn't count when it's that way. Like it only counts if you actually treat the other person like legally and personally correctly. And we found out that he's been doing the deals illegally against NFL and NFLPA rules constantly. He should be getting fined or infractions or these things happen to him, but he just does whatever he wants. Apparently, like laws and rules don't apply to Jerry Jones, but everyone else better do what he says.
Yeah, I think his persona of being like for the players and loving the players is not necessarily fake, but it's unrealistic.
He loves the fun and the excitement of football and being around the excitement, but I don't think he really cares that much about actual football or winning or whatever.
No, I think he generally loves the Cowboys and likes the players, like loves the players, but in a way that's like not what we would understand as like normal human beings that don't have billions of dollars to throw around.
He likes the excitement and winning games and celebrating and partying.
Yeah, I don't think he treats them fairly in the sense that he thinks he can do deals with them without their agent. Just that thought alone like really darkens the skies around Jerry Jones of what he thinks is okay and what's not. Because you're right, he doesn't play by the rules. He plays by his own rules because he can, because he's got enough money. And it's just, you know what though? He's paying the price for it, and I'm glad. Because his franchise is in shambles. It's an absolute shambles right now, and he can pretend that he won this trade, and he can pretend this is the way he wanted it to go. All he wants. Nobody believes him. Nobody believes him anymore, right?
Like, and I think the Cowboy fans will say similar things.
Yeah, no, Cowboys fans, I think, this might be the darkest hour in recent Cowboys memory. This is a very dark hour for the Cowboys.
It's like worse than Tony Romo fumbling and like.
Yeah, could be. Or the catch.
The Dez catch that was not a catch.
Can I just say, in the 90s, the Packers played the Cowboys like 3 years in a row in the playoffs, and they knocked us out. And they got all these crazy calls and things that went their way. And yes, I'm a Packer fan, so obviously I believe that. But I would like to say that the last 25 years has kind of made up for it because we screw the Cowboys all the time. We smoke them in the playoffs, right? The Dez catch, like I love it every time a Cowboys fan gets upset about that. Do you know what I'm saying? They're the number one seed, and we go blow them up with Aaron Rodgers when he goes down to Dallas, and then Jordan Love shows up 2 years ago and absolutely embarrasses them in Dallas, and now we get Micah Parsons. Hey, Cowboys, thanks for being our toilet seat for the last 25 years. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So, Doug, what's your closing thoughts on this Micah Parsons trade?
So thanks, Jerry Jones. Really appreciate that. When I looked at my phone today and Neckbeard and Greengrass texted me and said, "Oh, the deal's real. Like Micah, the trade's really," and I was like, "Okay, I gotta see with my own eyes." You know what I mean? I gotta go look on the. And you said, "Go look," and so I did, and I saw it, and it was 2 first-round picks. And you were like, "Oh my God, only 2 first-round picks," and it was just pure elation. It was like pure dopamine and serotonin of being like, we got a good deal for a player we really need really bad. Like this is literally like the last piece of the puzzle that we got. And in Kenny Clark, I would have been okay with them even giving him a few more draft picks in there, like another second or third. I wouldn't care. I would just be like, we need this. So like my point is we got a pretty good deal considering Kenny Clark might not have been on the team like after this year.
Right.
And now I literally went and bought more tickets to Packers games immediately. So that's exactly how.
Smart move. Maybe bet on the Eagles also covering the spread week 1 against the Cowboys. Like I thought about that right away too, because like I feel like the Cowboys team might just be deflated from this, and start really poorly. And they got
defense ain't going to be great.
They got a really tough schedule to start too, and a new coach first year. Like it could be rough for the Cowboys this year, but we'll see how it goes. So, all right, one final thought because we kind of brought this up. Is this the biggest trade? Is this obviously the biggest trade in Packers history? Is this the biggest trade in like recent NFL memory, like say since the 2000s? I think this is the biggest trade I can remember. I think at the time, the Russell Wilson trade was absolutely massive, but it immediately didn't pay dividends. It immediately
deflated right away.
Yeah. So like that one kind of lost a lot of sauce because it went kind of bad the first 4 or 5 games.
But even when they made the trade, everyone kind of scratched their head because they're like, Russell Wilson's not really that good anymore. So like,
it didn't feel.
It was big because of how much they gave up for him, but it was a head scratcher. You're like, dude, he's not worth that much. At all.
No, which is why I wish we would have traded Rodgers the year before.
I know if we could have.
I was saying we should have traded him.
We got 4 draft picks, like 4 number 1 picks,
or 3 firsts and 2 thirds or whatever. But yeah, so honestly, dude, this is okay. This is the biggest trade in Packers history. This is the most impactful player we have ever traded for. But is it the most impactful player any team has traded for? I mean, you got the Khalil Mack trade that went to Chicago. Again, he was 27. He was 1 year older than Micah. He was considered like a top 3, top 5 defensive.
He was a good player for them, but he didn't really make them into a contender.
Well, because they already weren't that good. This is the thing. The Bears were an okay team that got Khalil Mack that expected him to take them to be a good or great team. The Packers are already a good team that were becoming a great team as their young guys evolved, right? But we needed kind of a kick in the pants. So, and not only that, just the fact that like it seemed so improbable, just the fact that it seemed like Micah would never get traded, just the fact that it kind of came out of the blue. Because, dude, remember, Myles Garrett asked for a trade this year, got paid, right? TJ Watt asked for a trade, got paid, right? Bengals guy asked for a trade. Trey Henderson got paid. Terry McLaurin asked for a trade, got paid, right? And everybody got paid. But Micah got traded. Micah, maybe the best of them all because he's the youngest, actually got traded. What is going on?
Yeah, Myles Garrett's the only one you could argue that is equal value, maybe just because like TJ Watt's older, even though TJ Watt is very good. But
even though even though Myles Garrett's 3 years older, he's still the best defensive player in football, hands down.
He's still got all the whatever.
No question. Yeah, Myles Garrett's the closest thing to Lawrence Taylor. Dude, he might even be a better overall player than Lawrence Taylor, like no doubt. And that's no shade on Lawrence Taylor. I love you, LT. But like run defense, just the way that Myles Garrett takes on double teams pretty much every play, he's unbelievably good. So yeah, and then TJ Watt I'd say is right below him, and then Micah. So I can't think of a trade that's bigger than this. I don't know, maybe in my lifetime.
Yeah, like, I think the fact that he's like 3 years younger or whatever makes him actually like more attractive than them, really.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I would absolutely give up this trade for Myles Garrett, but I think if you traded for Myles Garrett, you'd have to give up more. Dude, I think for Micah, you'd have to give up more, but we didn't have to.
That's
the crazy thing. I was thinking it was going to be like a player, a first this year and a second and a first next year and like a third or a fourth or something. I was thinking it was going to take at least 4 draft picks and a player, because that's what I would ask for Micah is 4 draft picks and a player. So 2 firsts and Kenny Clark is a freaking steal. It is an absolute steal. And this is so big.
The biggest trades in NFL history are the Herschel Walker trade.
Yep.
That one and then probably the Russell Wilson trade, because there were so many trading elements and so many draft picks and so much stuff, right?
Right.
So there's not as many things, as many picks specifically. But the thing is that the player that is being traded is way better than both those players were. Like, way better. Like, Herschel Walker went to the Vikings and did nothing. Like, he did nothing. You know Micah Parsons is going to make an impact, right? Russell Wilson went to the Denver, did nothing. And the spectacular, crazy news, Jerry Jones, all this stuff, everybody in the whole sports world is thinking and looking at this right now. And the reactions and the internet going crazy and just people going nuts. I don't think anything like this has ever happened.
I can't remember any kind of hype about a trade as much as I've heard about Micah.
No player that's like had a Pro Bowl season every year of their career has ever been traded, like ever.
Not when they're 26. You know, Not when they're 26. Like
No.
a couple other trades people bring up is the Elway trade. But again, he was a rookie getting drafted. You didn't know what Elway was. Or the Eli Manning Rivers, when they
Sure,
did the
that's
trade.
before you really know how good they are.
Yeah, so you can't say they're huge trades because you don't know what that player is until later. You could look back on it and say, "Oh, that was a huge trade."
And
Because,
people don't even talk about that after it happened very much. Like a little bit in trivia, and that's it.
No,
You know,
this guy is an elite defensive player at 26 years old on his first contract still, getting traded before he signs his first contract, which he's just signed with us, right? I can't remember anything even close to this.
It's the biggest contract non-quarterback in history.
Yep.
And man, there's been some other big trades like Manning sort of, but he was kind of just like a cast off from the Colts.
Manning was coming off surgery and he didn't know what he was going to be. And yes, he came back and played very well for 2 seasons and then he was injured again. But and then the Colts were getting they had the first overall pick and everyone knew Andrew Luck was going to be good. So trading Manning wasn't like, oh, this is a shocker.
I don't even remember where they got
for him.
Andrew Luck, a 3rd round pick or something.
Yeah, Manning, do you still want to play? Here, go to Denver, right? Like, yeah, that was a big deal, but it's a totally different kind of trade.
And also, so like it might be the biggest trade of all history, but also comparing to what was even the biggest Packer trade we've ever done, like player wise?
Dude,
I mean, obviously Brett Favre, right?
Well, yeah, but again, we didn't know what Brett Favre was at the time. He was a 2nd round pick that I'd never played. It ended up being a huge trade, but you can't say that's a huge trade because nobody knew who Brett Favre was. Really.
Did we pick up Andre Rison off the free agency or trade for him?
I thought we traded for Andre, but I could be wrong. In the Super Bowl year,
he might have been cut from his team when we picked him up.
You know what? We might have picked up Andre, but we also picked up Keith, the tight end, Keith Jackson, and I don't know if we traded for him or not. But that was yeah.
Even if we did, it wasn't like a big deal. It wasn't like a 1st round or anything. I just
he was our 2nd tight end. He was a very good 2nd tight end. But
we had 2 literal like Pro Bowl level tight ends on the team.
Yeah, and he was traded to the Packers in 1995 for a 2nd round pick. So that is kind of a big deal. A 2nd round
Jackson
pick,
was,
right? Yeah. So that is a big deal. Those
are big deal trades, but they're not like mega deal trades.
Well, and that's for the Packers because that's 1995, guys. That's the last time we made a big trade and traded a top pick. Do you know what I'm saying? Is 1995. So
this is now that we've gone through this and we've said Jerry Jones is the worst sports owner in all of sports history, possibly. He's like up there, right?
He's up there.
It might be likely the biggest trade of all time in the NFL, and definitely the Packers, is Ed Policy now in his short time span versus how much he's done, the greatest owner of a sports team of all time. He's been the quote unquote CEO owner, like representing the owners of the team for what? A month? Yeah. And he's already made the biggest trade ever in history.
Yeah, well, Goody made the trade, and he even said today, like,
but Ed Policy is in charge of Goody. He's his boss. Yeah, he's like the owner or whatever.
Like Goody's telling Policy what's going on, and he's like, absolutely.
Policy is his boss. He reports to him.
Yeah, Ed Policy is the CEO of the Packers. He runs the Packers, right? So but
he has to okay this shit. Goody has to go to him and be like, hey, are you okay with this? And who knows? Ed Policy might have been like, hey, go get fucking Micah Parsons.
Or he might have been
walked in the room and said, go get him.
He's like, you've been in this job for years. You know what you're doing, and I trust you, right? Which is also possible. But okay, let's talk about Goody. Goody's already like legendary GM now. Legendary GM.
That's why I'm saying, though, he didn't make trades like this before Ed Policy showed up, buddies. You know what I'm saying?
But nobody made trades like this.
No, that's what I'm saying. Ed Policy might be the greatest owner of a sports team.
Dude, I don't know, man. Ed Policy, respect.
He said he was going to show up and make moves. He said he was going to make a splash. He said he was going to make things happen.
I mean, that's a splash if I've ever seen one.
He's a go-getter. He's a guy that shows up and he said, we're doing this stuff. He's not like, I love Mark Murphy and he's great. But Ed Policy is like, no, we're gonna go do this.
Yeah, Mark Murphy's way more chill. Like, yeah, let's find a way to build a really nice park for everybody. And Ed Policy's like, let's go win a damn Super Bowl, right? Like, so yeah, I love it. Ed Policy's been doing a really good job for years for the Packers. Obviously, son of Carmen Policy, who you guys know from.
He used to be the CEO of the Arena League.
Yeah, 49ers fame, Carmen Policy, and then Ed Policy has a really good track record of like being successful. So a lot of Packers fans know who he is. And what a way to come in. What a way to drop the mic, walk into
it was a big question mark because Mark Murphy did a fantastic job.
Yes,
Title town, doing all kinds of good stuff. The
but
team's been doing great.
That's more Mark Murphy's jam.
Getting the draft
like,
there and all that stuff,
like,
right?
It's like the outside stuff around the football team, making that better, making the stadium better, making the concessions better, making Titletown better, being more involved with the community. Mark Murphy was unbelievably good at that. And Ed Policy has more of a quote unquote football background, right? So like
more, yeah.
So I feel like Ed Policy is going to have more impact, or at least hopefully so.
Mark Murphy did have a football background too, but yeah.
But he came more from the financial sector, honestly. So like, but either way, Mark Murphy did a fantastic job. Welcome to the party, Ed Policy. Way to go, dude. Way to go. Way to go.
If you count his dad and all this stuff, he has just a large pool of football knowledge and experience.
Life. Yeah, his whole life.
He talks to his dad twice a week. I mean, he's just locked in as far as football stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously joking a little bit, but like, dude, what? Because the fans or the owners, whatever, he really represents the owners of the team. He's the closest thing we have to it, even though he's not like a Jerry Jones type owner. He still kind of is. So like, he is who hires and fires like the general manager, the head coach and stuff. He's the one guy that makes those decisions.
Goes to the owners' meetings when they collude.
And So, and this is the thing, like, you don't know what's happening behind closed doors. He could be going to Gutekunst and being like, hey, you're doing a great job, but we need to step this up a notch. Like, let's go fucking after MICAH Parsons. Let's do whatever. Because remember, they asked him, are you going to renew everyone? And he said, we'll see. He said, we'll see if we renew him. And everyone's like, wait.
No, I mean, Goody is just so much more aggressive than like Ted Thompson or what we're used to. I mean, signing MICAH, signing Jacobs last year was very unpackers like, huge, right? And then, this year a little quiet in the offseason, but dude, what a move. What a move. Like, I mean, that defense is already going to be scary. I already thought our defense was going to be good.
How did we get him out of all the teams in the whole league? Everyone's like, there's no way the Packers are getting him.
I can't believe
like all these other guys might.
Jerry gave him to us after we just decimate him all the time.
I'm telling you, Goot and LaFleur and Ed Policy had a plan, and they went in and executed it, and they destroyed everybody. They're like, we are going to go get MICAH Parsons, fuck everybody else, and they did it.
They knew how to sweet talk Jerry. They're like, Jerry, we don't need that.
Like, hey, Jerry, you want to hang out on the yacht? You want to be bros? You want to have
why don't we sit down and have a sleepover?
Have some champagne,
couple
have some
tequilas.
cigars.
Our friend Mike used to be here. Mike, right?
Ed Policy might be real slick. He might be. I mean, him and Goot might be real.
We don't need to get agents involved, Jerry. We don't need to talk to anybody.
Hey, Jerry, we don't need to get anyone else involved. You're the man we got to talk to. We got to talk to you, Jerry. You're
maybe they know how to talk to Jerry. Dude, I still can't believe he traded him to the Packers. Like, I almost can't.
There's a vibe or some energy or something about Ed Policy that helped this happen. I guarantee it.
All right.
Like, think about it. He's extremely smart, savvy from his dad. Like, he might be way smarter than Jerry Jones. He might have just he might have just outthought the Cowboys the whole way down this path. I mean, of course, Goot gets credit too.
Yeah, give Goot the credit. That's Goot's
for sure.
I'm
saying everybody deserves credit. I'm just saying Ed Policy added something to it that made it even better.
And honestly, the contract was higher than I thought it would be, but 47 over 4 years is close to what I expected.
I was worried it would be like 50 or something like that because
the 45 to 47 is kind of what we were hearing. And if he wants 47, dude, and this is the other thing too, right now, it's a lot of money, but 3 years from now, when other guys start getting contracts, Mike is going to be like the fifth or sixth highest.
Yeah, in the third or fourth year, it'll be just like
and it's gonna even itself out, So like
the Packers are very frugal. That's part of it. They're smart. They're like they know. Hey, now it seems like a lot, but 3 or 4 years from now, it won't be.
Well, and even so, if you look at our dead cap this year, we got a bunch of dead cap from DeAndre Cambrell, Preston Smith. Now we got Kenny Clark dead cap. We got Jair dead cap this year. But Micah's only going to cost us $21 million this year, or $20 million, which is exactly the same as what Kenny was going to cost us, basically, right? And then next year, we'll see how his contract is laid out. My guess is they're going to backload it, right? I talked about this before. They're going to backload the contract because we got about $17 million to play with next year. Once we get some of this stuff off, we'll still have Kenny Clark's dead cap next year. But we've got Devontae Wyatt's fifth year that we can talk about. Elton Jenkins will probably get a new deal. Keyshawn Nixon's making $7 million next year.
And there's all the other people to sign. There's wide receivers and stuff. So the thing is that not only is this a big wake-up call for the team to get on board for the Super Bowl, it's a wake-up call. If you want to make it on the Packers in the next 2 years, you better show up and play. Because not everyone's making this team.
I don't think Dobbs or Watson get a contract. I don't think we can afford to pay them $9-10 million a year or even less, because this is why another reason why Goody went out maybe and got 2 wide receivers, because he knew he wasn't going to pay him.
He got
or he knew
Golden
it,
because he doesn't have to re-sign him.
Or he knew it was unlikely because, dude, can you imagine if we were paying Watson or Dobbs $13 million right now to be hurt and drop balls? Like, I'd be insanely upset about it. The fact that they're on rookie contracts,
this is their year to show that they can show up and do it and not get injured and produce.
Dude, you're going to have to really show out and have like a Pro Bowl caliber year to get a contract, Dobbs or Watson. And Watson, you're hurt, so that's going to be tough.
If Watson comes and balls out, they'll try to re-sign him.
I know, but I don't know how, because then we got to re-sign Reed next year and Wicks, and then the year after that, and Kraft. Don't forget about Tucker Kraft, right? And then we got to sign Quay, and then we're going to have to sign a cornerback at some point.
It's good problems to have, though.
No, it's an excellent problem to have. That's what I'm saying, though, is Goody just loaded up on wide receivers, and he might not give any of them a contract, for as far as I know now. Do you know what I mean? And we might just keep recycling receivers, kind of like Kansas City has done during their successful years. Like, they haven't really had, other than Travis Kelce, right? They had Tyreek Hill, but then they shipped him out, and then they just kind of been recycling in new receivers. Rashee Rice, obviously, and Xavier Woods, I believe, is, yeah. So there's a way to go about this and be successful. I just wonder what's going to happen with some of the contracts now that we're paying $47 million to a defensive end. I don't see a lot of these wide receivers getting a second contract, dude. I think
the media is going to start these things where they say nice things about the Packers. Remember in years past where they'd be like, the Packers are so smart. They did this move and that move, and they realize it's not important to do this. And then they kind of didn't say that for a while, but I think they're going to start saying again now, like, hey, they put all their money in a rusher, a quarterback. They invest in that in the line, and they can just replace. You know what I mean? They'll be like they were like them, and the Chiefs were like ahead of the game a little bit.
There's a lot of Packer love, but there's a lot of Packer haters. There's all these people that think the Bears are going to take the next step, so they obviously have to think the Bears are better than the Packers. And
like Nick Wright or whatever, he picks the Bears and win the Super Bowl every year.
Yeah, I mean, dude, that just blew up in his face. They won 5 games last year.
He said Caleb Williams is going to like win the MVP this year or something. I don't know.
He's not going to learn his lesson, and that's fine. He likes Caleb.
No, he said Caleb Williams is going to be the best quarterback in the NFC North this year. He said he's going to be better than Goff, better than Love.
Wow, that's a bold statement, because we haven't seen anything close to that yet. So, but yeah, I think the Bears are going to be better, but the Packers are head and shoulders better than them right now. And we'll see what the Vikings are with McCarthy. Doesn't look too good with a lot of the injuries. And, the Lions lost both their coordinators. Dude, this is the thing. Not only is the Packers schedule favorable, but we have consistency. We haven't lost any coordinators. We haven't switched quarterbacks. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we are the only team in the NFC North that hasn't had some pretty significant turnover, right? And we have better schedules gamed at home. Jordan Love's hopefully not going to be injured this year, and now we got Micah. Dude, look out. We're taking it.
There's one key to this team this year, the offensive line gelling and starting to play well. That is going to detect. If they do that, it's going to be 12 wins.
Right.
You mark it down.
Dude, and we're going to run the ball really well. Jacobs is really good. I mean, this is the reason we signed Brooks from the 49ers. He's a good run blocker. So I think we got this division. I think we're winning this division. All right. Well, Micah Parsons, welcome to Green Bay. I'm super excited. Thanks for joining us on Foosball After Dark. Catch you next time.